there's actually a list of materials here. So if you like to try to collect as many as you have, we're going to be using black and white paper, tinfoil, aluminum pans, pizza box or shoebox, some tape, plastic wrap. Those are the basic ones you're going to need today. But we'll probably take one more minute, wait for folks to join online. So try to collect those materials before we start today. How are you doing today, Adriana?
I'm doing well. How about you, Jack?
I'm doing well too. Excited to talk about solar.
Oh, yeah. It feels like we're solar soulmates.
Oh my gosh.
Gotta start out with a good pun. Start the meeting.
Oh my gosh, I love puns. They're so much fun.
I think that's our thing now. We're known as the pun meters or the pun greeters.
The punning people.
Yeah, the punny people.
We're so punny.
We're so punny.
Okay. Is there anything you want to add, Adriana, before we get started?
No, let's get started.
Okay, cool, cool. Well, uh, thank you all for joining us today. Um, and welcome to today's Peek at Home webinar. If you don't know, Peek at Home is a collection of webinars and lessons you can do at home with little or no materials. Peek is an educational program provided through the Energy Coalition, which the Energy Coalition, or TEC, pronounced TEC, is a nonprofit organization with over 45 years of experience designing, implementing strategies, and transform energy use, and also inspire people to take responsible energy actions.
Hello, burst of sunshines. My name is Adriana, and I am from Merced, California, which is known for the Central Valley. We are excited to demonstrate how solar and thermal energy are used in our daily lives. Sending energy your way, Jack.
And my name is Jack. I am a fellow at the Energy Coalition located in the Inland Empire in Southern California. And I'm really excited and energized to talk about the different ways we use solar energy.
To start our first activity, would you shed some light on that, Jack?
Yeah, will do, Adriana. I hope we have a lot of sun with our activities today. So we'll be doing something called solar oven, and we have a little pre-lesson we're going to do beforehand. And for our next slide, as we talked before, this one's called Solar Explorer, and we're going to learn about all the different ways solar energy is collected and used. But first, make sure you have a black piece of paper and a blank piece of paper. If you currently have those materials, leave them in a sunny spot, so maybe a window or even outside. And once you do this, let's talk more about solar. So what we have here is actually a little diagram, and we're going to be talking about what is solar energy. Where does it come from? Well, solar energy is made by harvesting light from the sun. The way we do this is something we'll talk about later, but commonly you might see those shiny panels on top of people's homes, and those are solar panels. What do we use that solar energy for, though, and can solar energy be used all the time? So these are some of the questions we'll be looking at, and for our next slide, we'll be able to explore some of the common uses we use solar for. So some of these common uses might be heating our water in homes. So solar thermal and other types of activities can actually heat up the water that we want to use for like showers and baths and washing our hands, and actually heat that up and provide warm water, even warm air for our homes. And then another use is powering pumps. So even powering the pumps inside our homes to pump that water throughout our house. And then our third use that is commonly used is charging batteries. And as you notice here, we have an image of an electric vehicle being plugged in and being powered, hopefully by renewable energies. Rooftop solar, something I mentioned, solar panels, which are something you might see commonly on homes and on rooftops. Those can also produce electricity for a single household, and then also use that for appliances and other purposes inside the household. And then our last purpose or solar energy use is actually something called solar energy cooking. And this is what we'll be doing in our overall lesson with Adriana. But first, we should talk about how do we collect this energy, and are there different ways of doing so. So let's check out the three most common types. So our first type of way we collect solar energy is with something called photovoltaic cells. And I've talked about it already, but the solar panels you see, those flat shiny things you see on rooftops sometimes, those are the solar panels that contain something called photovoltaic cells, which collect sunlight in order to make energy. These are common in places that are really sunny a majority of the time of the year, like California, Arizona, a lot of the Southwest and desert prone areas. And they can be placed individually on rooftops. They're also really useful for being in solar farms and going row by row to collect vast quantities of energy from the sun. Our second way that we actually collect solar energy is something through solar thermal collectors. Notice that picture down at the bottom with that thing, that kind of tower in the middle, and then all these blue looking things around it? Well, that picture, what do you think's happening there? What do you think's actually happening? How do you think we're actually collecting energy and sunlight in this picture? So I'd like you, the folks in the group here, or participants, I'd like you to post in the chat your idea explanation that's about 1 to 2 sentences long as to what you think is happening in that bottom picture. How do you think we're actually collecting energy from the sun in this one? So to also give a little bit of a background, all those blue looking things there, they're kind of like solar panels, except they actually reflect sunlight. So where do you think they're reflecting that sunlight to? Do you have any guesses, Adriana?
I think they're reflecting it towards that pole and it's absorbing all the sunlight because that's a lot of looks like panels.
Yeah.
This this view.
So those are all something we call reflectors. I see some good explanations. Awesome. Okay. Yeah, so what's happening in the tower in the middle, it actually has water, and when all those mirrors reflect their sunlight, it concentrates the energy, making that water turn into steam. The steam is then used to move turbines, which gives us energy. So probably really super hot in there. But our third and last way we collect solar energy is a process called passive solar. So you probably noticed the picture of the book there, and this is actually something that is probably happening in your household right now. Passive solar is just how solar energy warms up a house naturally, and how sunshine and other such things just naturally come into your household. People can utilize this best by actually building their houses or windows in certain ways to get the most out of natural sunlight. So passive solar is actually what we'll be exploring today in our activity Solar Explorer. So for our next slide, I'm going to ask you to take that piece of paper, or those two pieces of paper that you had, a black and a white one, and we're going to actually observe those two pieces of paper. What I like you to observe, what is the darker piece warmer or cooler than the blank piece? I actually have two items here that I left in the sun. I have a white piece of paper, and then I also have this dark book that I left out in the sun early this morning and then brought back in just a couple minutes before we started this. And what I noticed, and I hope a lot of you noticed, is that the darker book I had was actually warmer than the lighter piece of paper. So why is that? Does anyone think they know? So I'd like folks in the chat to post their explanation. Why is the darker piece of paper warmer than the lighter piece of paper here? So we'll take about a minute for people to chat there, and we'll keep on going.
That's interesting, huh? The sun can do so much even when we're not even paying attention.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Okay, I see someone wrote that darker stuff absorbs more heat. Okay, that's a good idea. So I
Have,
wonder why that
have you
is.
ever heard of the term spring is lighter or winter's darker, spring is lighter?
No, I haven't heard that term. What is that term?
So basically, in the fashion industry, darker clothes in the winter is what you want because it attracts the sunlight to keep you warm. You
Ah,
wear brighter colors during the spring, summer seasons because it avoids the sun. So you don't get hot in the sun when it's summertime when you're wearing white. But if you're wearing black in the sun, it attracts heat and your shirt will feel twice as hot.
oh my gosh, I like that. I know
Mhm.
what was the term again?
Darker is, I, I lost my train of thought. I'm so mesmerized by the sun. So spring and summer is lighter, fall and winter are darker.
Okay,
Hmm.
that totally makes sense though. So I see some great explanations. And what's happening is passive solar at work, as you mentioned, darker things are more likely to absorb heat from sunlight than lighter material because it reflects it more easily. So our darker paper was actually absorbing more heat from the sunshine, while our lighter material was actually reflecting more of that sunlight away. And you could probably observe this phenomenon by actually, have you ever worn like a dark shirt during the summertime when it's really hot out, kind of like a dark shirt like one I have here. If you've ever done that before, it feels really hot. Like you feel really hot, and it's just unbearable, especially here in California or the Central Valley during the summertime.
It's
But if
winter.
you, yeah, if you go out at the same time with a lighter shirt, like one I have here, like this white T-shirt, then it feels degrees cooler. It feels a lot better. This is the same thing happening. It's passive solar. The dark material I'm wearing, a black t-shirt, is absorbing more heat, while if I wear a white t-shirt, it's actually reflecting more of that sunshine away, so less heat is being absorbed. Now, to take this lesson a step further, and for the next, or actually stay on the slide, take this lesson further, I would like to you at home to try a different paper color and also try to see if you can use this passive solar to do something. What I'd like you to do after this lesson is to put the dark sheet of paper and light piece of paper in a sunny area again, put a cup on each of them, and then actually put an ice cube as well in each of those cups and see which one melts faster. So with the knowledge we already have here, I want to see if you can apply that and see if you can make a hypothesis. Which one do you think might melt faster? The one on the dark piece of paper or the one on the light piece of paper? And once you're all done with that experiment after our lesson, I'd like you to also try an experiment with different colors of paper. So I'm going to try something after this as well, because I have some lime green tissue paper, then I have some daisy yellow tissue paper, and I was going to try to see if I can get any differences with these, because they're also a lighter material. They're a lot lighter than my construction paper that I have here. So I really like you to explore and see what else you can do with passive solar. Now we're going to be handing it off to our next section with Adriana.
All right, everybody, the moment you guys all been waiting for has now arrived. Okay, so today we're going to build our solar oven. Next slide. So here I created kind of a step-by-step on how your oven should look like. Based on the materials I had at my home, I used tin materials, which are tin or aluminum foil containers. So what I began to do is you want to be able to have a heat source, so you can either step outside in your backyard, your front yard, or even by a window. It's totally up to your preference. So here, the first step that I did was my construction paper, my black construction paper that I placed on the bottom of my bottom tin. The first one you see side by side. Second, I grabbed my books. And I had taped in the back of the second tin foil. I taped the bottom so it looks like a clam opening. And then, so now we have to pick something yummy to eat. We will be making a clam-like opening with the 2 tin containers, measuring and cutting the construction paper to fit perfectly into the tin. After that is complete, tape the tins together to support the ends. Now that our oven is almost complete, we will need to now assemble the tin treat. Place your preferred treat. I chose a s'more. I didn't have a marshmallow, but it's okay, more chocolate. Now that you've placed it in the tin, it'll warm up faster because the black construction paper will be underneath. Grabbing your 2 heavy books, we will support the tin that will be reflecting the sun into the bottom tin, and you will now place your plastic wrap on the bottom as you see in photo number 3. This will contain the heat inside. And due to your weather conditions, it might take a little longer to melt your s'more, but it's okay, it's worth the wait. After a few minutes in the sun, your delicious treat should be melted. You can choose up to cheese and nacho or cheese and chips, make nachos, or you can do a s'more, whichever, like I said, it's up to your preference. And then after that, we are gonna do our wrap up. So as we wrap up our lesson today, I have a few questions and facts to leave with you. First, we will be talking about our solar a lot, and it helps to recognize that solar is the most abundant energy source for the earth. If we were to able just to collect 1 hour of direct sunlight from the sun, that could power the entire earth for a year. It also takes the sunlight only 10 minutes to reach the earth. That's a little more than 90 million miles.
Oh my gosh, that's like, wow. I can't even imagine that. I can't even imagine like 1 million miles. Whew. That's really crazy. So the sun is super powerful. A couple more questions we have for you all to also think about is about other things you could use in a solar oven. What else do you think you can cook? We talk about nacho cheese, we talk about s'mores. I'm thinking soup might be a good option. I don't know about you, but soup might sound pretty good. Maybe do
Maybe
barbecue.
some cookies.
Maybe cookies. That maybe biscuits. I think there's a lot of options.
There's a whole bunch of options. There's one where I've seen this college student, she wanted cookies so bad, so she bought some dough, and her car was probably 100 degrees inside, or possibly more. She left them under the sun, under the window on her dash, and the cookies were done within 3 hours.
Oh my gosh, that is some ingenious engineering right there.
Luckily, if it would have been 4 hours, the cookies probably would have burned.
Oh yeah, true. 3 hours. That's some patience too.
Yeah.
And besides just like a solar oven, what are some other applications for solar energy? We explored the different ways solar energy is collected and different types of ways we use it, but how might you apply it in your daily life if you already don't? And for our next slide, we just have a little bit of a wrap up, and we really thank you for joining us today. We really appreciate it, and we hope you learned something about solar energy and just how great of a renewable resource it is. If you want to check out our next webinar, it will be Tuesday, next Tuesday, May 12th, and it's from 1 to 2 p.m. You can join us here again at the same time. And if you want to access more of our materials, we have our all our stuff at peakstudents.org, and you can access our Peak at Home lessons along with our solar oven lesson, which is our Peak at Home lesson, and many, many others that are coming out Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, as well as our webinars on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So thank you all for joining us.
Yeah, we hope you had an amazing time. Hope you guys start cooking something. And maybe those ice cubes, you can make a race on who would melt faster.
Yeah.
That's some food coloring.
Oh, yeah, that'd be good too. Thank you all for joining us, and we hope you have a great day.
Enjoy some sun. Bye.
This webinar was brought to you by the Energy Coalition. With NGSS-aligned and environmentally focused STEM lessons, the Energy Coalition provides Peak at Home, digital lessons designed to support your students' curiosity for science and exploration from the comfort of home. To sign up is quick and easy. Simply visit the Families Corner of the Peak website at peakstudents.org/families-corner. There, you can complete the registration form for access to our full Peak at Home library and for more information on all Peak program offerings.